Beneath the surface of global commerce, in ledgers meticulously maintained, in the ceaseless flow of digital transfers, and in financial statements that span continents and time zones, there exists a vast and intricate web of activity that speaks volumes about intent, opportunity, and risk, and it is within this web that financial intelligence, or FININT, quietly operates, untangling the connections that flow silently between individuals, organizations, and nations, often hidden in plain sight, yet holding within them the blueprints of power, influence, and clandestine action. Every transaction, whether modest or colossal, carries with it a signature of purpose, a subtle trace of decision-making. A pathway that, when carefully traced, can reveal the architecture of threats, the workings of criminal networks, and the hidden mechanisms that drive the circulation of wealth and the exercise of influence across borders. FININT is the art and science of interpreting these flows, transforming vast streams of raw data into coherent insight and exposing patterns, networks, and irregularities that would otherwise remain invisible to casual observation. Obscured by the sheer scale and complexity of the financial world, analysts of FININT immerse themselves in this complexity, studying the movement of funds across global boundaries, following the layering of transactions deliberately designed to obscure origin and destination, and detecting the faintest indicators of illicit activity concealed within legitimate financial operations. They examine trade agreements, investments, currency exchanges, cryptocurrency transfers, and derivative contracts with the meticulous attention of a scientist and the intuition of a detective, searching for anomalies, irregularities, and trends that might betray clandestine activity. In this domain, numbers are not merely figures, they are narratives, they are fingerprints, they are stories waiting to be read and understood. When pieced together, these numerical threads reveal strategies, connections, and intentions carefully hidden behind the veneer of legality, shedding light on shadowy networks that influence politics, economics, and security on a global scale. FININT demands both extraordinary precision and subtle intuition. Analysts must navigate mountains of data, disentangling chance from deliberate design, tracing complex webs of accounts, shell companies, intermediaries, and offshore structures, and interpreting their interactions in the context of human behavior, policy decisions, and operational strategy. They seek to understand how financial movements correlate with geopolitical activity, military operations, or criminal enterprise, transforming raw transactions into actionable intelligence that can guide law enforcement, inform national security assessments, and shape international policy. Each discovery, every traced flow of funds, and every exposed connection has the potential to illuminate hidden threats, prevent exploitation, and strengthen the frameworks of governance and accountability in ways that ripple far beyond the immediate scope of analysis. The discipline bridges the abstract and the tangible, revealing that seemingly mundane acts of transfer, purchase, or investment may carry profound implications. A subtle shift of capital in a remote account, a sudden surge in cryptocurrency transfers, or the activation of a dormant corporate entity can all serve as signals of coordinated activity, strategic intent, or preparatory movements that demand careful scrutiny. FININT transforms these subtle, often overlooked signals into understanding, revealing the structural skeletons of networks and the invisible strategies that operate in the shadows, functioning silently yet decisively until illuminated by careful study, analytic reasoning, and expert interpretation. In offices brimming with glowing screens, complex databases, and sophisticated analytical software, FININT specialists trace these pathways with a combination of diligence, deep expertise, and insight honed over years of experience. They map financial relationships, detect hidden flows of capital, forecast future activity, and provide intelligence that translates numbers into foresight, transactions into predictions, and accounts into awareness. Analysts must balance technical mastery with human judgment, recognizing that behind every transfer lies an actor, a decision, a motive, and that the narrative woven through financial activity is as much human as it is numerical. The scope of FININT stretches beyond individual transactions or organizations. It encompasses entire financial ecosystems, spanning global markets, transnational trade networks, offshore havens, and the invisible corridors through which wealth moves unobserved. Analysts must consider not only the immediate patterns of activity but also the strategic implications, how funds can influence political campaigns, support covert operations, finance criminal enterprises, or destabilize economies. In this way, FININT functions as both microscope and telescope, capable of revealing the smallest irregularities within a single account while also tracing the grand arcs of global economic influence, connecting threads that span countries, industries, and time. Moreover, the rise of digital finance has transformed the landscape of FININT, introducing new forms of currency, decentralized networks, and algorithmically managed transactions that challenge analysts to continuously adapt, innovate, and anticipate. Cryptocurrencies, blockchain ledgers, and automated trading platforms create vast new arenas for observation, offering both obfuscation and opportunity. FININT specialists must remain vigilant, leveraging technology to illuminate the invisible pathways of value, employing advanced analytics, artificial intelligence, and pattern recognition while never losing sight of the human decision-makers whose intentions animate the numbers. Ultimately, FININT is the silent lens through which the invisible engines of wealth, influence, and strategy are revealed. It shows that financial activity is never neutral, that every transaction carries potential consequence, and that the careful observation, measurement, and interpretation of capital flows can transform uncertainty into foresight, vulnerability into preparedness, and obscurity into knowledge. It is a discipline that demands patience, rigor, and insight, and in its practice, the quiet movement of numbers becomes a language of intelligence, a map of human intent, and a tool of extraordinary power in shaping decisions, guiding policy, and protecting societies. FININT reveals that beneath every account, beneath every transaction, there exists a story, and that by listening to these stories, interpreting their patterns, and connecting their threads, analysts gain the profound ability to see what others cannot, to anticipate what may come, and to understand the hidden rhythms that govern the movement of money, influence, and power across our complex, interconnected world.